In 1942, Enrico Fermino at the University of Chicago and his science team created the world's first nuclear reaction. Now, at the time, this was absolutely groundbreaking because no one had ever thought to harness nuclear energy. But this was also the creation of the world's most powerful but dangerous forms of energy. And my question is, should nuclear power plants be shut down? I think they should. One reason because they are too costly. Nuclear power plants are almost as expensive as wind, solar, and hydropower combined. Solar energy in the past decade has dropped by 90% in price, whereas in the past decade, nuclear energy has risen by 40% in price. Wind and solar energy costs about $38 per megawatt. Nuclear energy costs about $168 per megawatt. This means that nuclear energy, on average, is 4 times as expensive as wind and solar combined. Nuclear power plants also cost 12 to 20 billion just to build. Public safety is also a big factor. The workers are at many risks, not only because of the power plant itself, but because of natural disasters and war and terrorism. Currently, nuclear power plants are about 31 years old. This causes many other problems such as crumbling in foundation, cracking in pipes, and many other problems such as aging in veins and pipes. There are people who believe that nuclear energy is essential to the US. But why? Well, scientists have made cores much safer and more efficient. They take up less space, they cost less, and they produce more power per square mile than the average power plant. This also means that the radioactive waste is less radioactive, safer to work on, and if the US continues down the nuclear power plant path, we will become more self-reliant, more powerful, and less likely to have power outages. Now, why is nuclear energy so bad for the environment? Well, it's pretty simple. The nuclear waste. Nuclear waste is extremely toxic and radioactive. If it gets into the environment around it, it will create a toxic environment for not only the plants and animals, but also for us humans. If it gets into the water, it will carry that radioactive material into the drinking areas for millions of people. This means that millions of people will either be sick or either die. On average, the nuclear waste takes about 100 years to dispose of. This means that after 100 years, scientists will be able to properly work on and dispose of this radioactive material. Due to past accidents such as Chernobyl or other core meltdowns or explosions, we now know what can happen when radioactive material is released into our environment. To conclude, nuclear power plants must be shut down. They are too costly, too risky, too dangerous to our environment and humans, and they create toxic waste. With sea levels rising and heat levels increasing, this causes problems for coastal plants. This makes them shut down more frequently and have more problems. We would have to put out twice as many power plants as we have right now until the year 2050 if we want to cut greenhouse gases by 4%. We also have cheaper and much cleaner ways to make energy such as solar, wind, and hydro power. Now imagine our world without nuclear energy. How much cleaner and safer our world would be, and how much healthier we would be. Now, with that being said, we must do something about nuclear energy. We must stop nuclear power.